Seriously, what is it with independent spirited films and listening to the Smiths? Okay, so the plot of The Perks of a Wallflower is basically a young freshman to a new school named Charlie. He is a bit isolated, feels a bit left out, just trying to make friends. And he comes across two new friends called Sam and Patrick, played by Emma Watson and Ezra Miller. And from there he creates a really strong friendship and bond and opens up into more of the real world. Okay, so we have three main characters, and the first one is Charlie, played by Logan Lerman, who's a freshman into this school, and he's kind of isolated and not into his own, he's not discovered himself yet, and he kind of portrays that with, not by overplaying it, but just by underplaying himself, and he acts it really well, and it feels like a really natural and diverse character. And then we have Sam, who's played by Emma Watson, and she's trying to break out of this for after school and go into college and stuff, and she kind of has like a dark past as well, and she's quite a multi-layered character, so you can't quite anticipate like where she'll go, what she'll do next. And I quite like that about her character, so because she wasn't 100% predictable and you were kind of always invested with her at the same time. And finally, at the main characters, we have Patrick, played by Ezra Miller, and he's kind of a hyperactive character, but that's to hide some of his inner emotions. And Ezra Miller I really like as an actor since last year We Need to Talk About Kevin, which I really loved, and it was a film that he really was strong in, and again he can prove that he can do a wide variety of roles, and this is very opposite to that film, and it's a really, really big step up. Essentially this is a film about loneliness, but from the perspective of a teenager, and about how we go through like high school and our early years of life quite isolated and alone. We have dark stuff happen to us as well, and its central message is we deserve more than we actually accept, and we deserve more love, we deserve more friendship. And it's a really nice and strong message that will probably appeal to all ages, but mainly to the teenage demographic that it's trying to say it to. And it has a strong emotional core. I mean, this is a film that I would recommend that you at least bring a pack of tissues to, because it can be quite sad and dark, but it can be quite uplifting as well, and it kind of feels natural moving between those two elements. And all the characters as well are extremely likeable. The main three are just characters that you just fall in love with, and you feel like you've became a part of their friendship and that you're going along on the journey with them, and so you feel more involved and part of the story. But that's not to say the film's perfect, and it's not without its own problems. I think my main problem is it often becomes self-absorbed in its independent filmmaking style. The soundtrack is overly just independent bands and stuff, and the characters as well, they don't listen to CDs or modern music, they listen to independent classical music that you wouldn't usually expect a teenager to listen to. And I understand that's a character trait of the group of characters, but it kind of feels like this is a cliche that's became of like independent films now, how we have quirky characters, and it just kind of felt like it wasn't trying to break out of those cliches that some of the independent films have been tied down to. And some of the plot strands and character development as well, you can pretty much plot out where it's going to go and how they'll be at the end of the film. But that's not to say the film's without surprises. There are plenty of surprises, like Emma Watson's character. You're not quite sure about her, you're not quite sure about some of the backstory of other characters, but from where they begin at the film to where they end at the film, you kind of get like a sense of where it will go. So overall, I'm going to give the film 4 out of 5. I think it's a really strong emotional film, but occasionally it becomes tied down with its own genre of what it's trying to be, and some of the plot can be kind of guessed to where it will go. And as usual, if you like this review, you can just click subscribe and you can see more.